All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're tackling a really big question in education. It's this huge clash of ideas. On one side, you've got the push for super strict order and discipline, and on the other, a totally different approach, one that's all about trauma-informed support. This whole debate really gets to the core of how we think we should be helping kids succeed.
And this quote, wow, it just perfectly captures that tension. Prioritizing rules over relationships and emotional support. That's the main critique you hear about the no excuses discipline model, which became really popular in a lot of charter schools, especially KIPP. And look, the goals were noble, right? Academic rigor. But as we're going to see, critics say it came with a pretty steep price.
So that really tees up the central question we're exploring today. What if the solution to behavior problems isn't just more discipline, more rules? What if it's something totally different, a kind of support that digs deeper? I mean, seriously, what if we've been looking at this whole thing completely backwards?
Okay, so to really understand why a new model might be so important, we have to get a handle on the problem first. So let's start there. We're going to look at the specific challenges that were reported at KIPP Tulsa, a school that was really built on this no excuses idea.
And look, the critiques here go way beyond just being strict. We're talking about a system where kids were getting demerits and even suspensions for really minor stuff, like a mistake on their uniform. There were even reports of staff members, sometimes called screamers, who would yell at students publicly. It all created this culture where just following the rules, compliance, became more important than building trust or a real sense of community. And the really tough part? It often ended up pushing out the exact kids who needed the most help.
So that's the system. But the real question is, what does that do to a kid? What's the human cost of living in that kind of environment day in and day out? Let's take a look.
And this is where you see this huge disconnect. I mean, look at the stated goals. Create order, build character strengths like grit, prepare students for college. All good things, right? But the reported reality for so many students was a completely different story. We're talking emotional harm, burnout, feeling pushed out. The very system that was supposed to build kids up was, for some, actually breaking them down.
Okay, so all of that really sets the stage for a completely different way of thinking, a real alternative, one that doesn't start with a rule book, but with trying to understand what a child has actually been through.
And this quote from Adam James, the founder of an organization called Safe Harbor, it just hits so hard. I realized, when I saw myself as bad, I did bad things. I mean, that's the whole philosophy right there in a nutshell. How kids see themselves, that internal story, it directly shapes what they do.
So what does that actually look like? Well, it's called a trauma-informed approach. And honestly, it's a total game changer. It shifts the fundamental question. Instead of looking at a kid and asking, what's wrong with you? This approach asks, what happened to you? See the difference? It completely reframes behavior. It's not about a bad kid making a bad choice. It's about a kid showing us a symptom of pain they haven't processed yet. Okay, having a philosophy is great, but that's just the start. How do you turn that big idea into something real, something that actually works for kids in a school? Well, that's exactly where Safe Harbor's Body and Brain program comes into play.
And the core idea behind it is something they call disguised learning. And it's brilliant. Think about it, right? Most kids are not going to be thrilled to sit down for an hour of traditional talk therapy, but they absolutely want to play. So this method cleverly weaves therapeutic goals into activities that are just plain fun. The kids are developing these crucial coping skills, and they don't even know what's happening. They just think they're having a good time.
So what's in the toolbox for this program? It's this really cool mix of body and brain stuff, just like the name says. You've got activities like boxing and yoga to help kids get in tune with their bodies and manage all that physical energy. And at the same time, they're learning concrete skills, like how to use I feel statements to talk about their emotions, or how to create a safety plan for when things get overwhelming. It's all about building up the whole child. Now, this all sounds amazing, but you're probably thinking what I'm thinking. How does a school, which is already stretched thin, actually do this? How do you bring a whole clinical program into a school or a daycare without it becoming a huge headache for them? Let's talk about the business model. And here's a really key piece of the puzzle, making it work financially for the school. Get this, the school or daycare can actually get paid a facility fee up to $300 a day just for providing the space. This completely flips the script. Instead of being a new cost, the partnership can actually become a new, sustainable source of revenue for them.
The secret sauce here is a super clear division of labor. Basically, Safe Harbor handles everything, and I mean everything. The clinical staff, the materials, the insurance spelling, all the liability and regulations, the whole shebang. The school or daycare, their only job is to provide a room. That's it. It's designed to be a completely zero-burden model for them.
Now, if you're wondering about the legal side of things, don't worry, they've got it all figured out. It's a really simple, compliant model. Step 1. Insurance, or Medicaid, pays Safe Harbor directly for the therapy services. Step 2. Safe Harbor pays the school that facility fee we talked about, basically like rent for the space. And Step 3, and this is the most important part, that fee is a flat fixed rate. It's never tied to how many kids get referred. That ensures there are no illegal kickbacks and keeps everything totally above board.
Okay, so let's zoom out. We've looked at the problem with the no excuses model, we've explored this totally different trauma-informed philosophy, and we've seen how it can work in practice. So what's the big picture here? What could this mean for the future of kids' mental health? When you really break it down, this whole thing works because of 3 key pillars. First, you need the clinical experts like Safe Harbor who know what they're doing. Second, you need a trusted place in the community where kids already are, like a school or a daycare. And third, you need a smart, clean financial model that makes it all sustainable. With those 3 things, this isn't just a feel-good story about one program. It's a blueprint, a model that could be copied and used almost anywhere.
And that leaves us with a pretty powerful thought to chew on. Just imagine, for a second, a world where this kind of model is just normal. What if getting a child the mental health support they desperately need was as simple, as routine, and as accessible as dropping them off at school in the morning? Just think about what that could change. It's a pretty amazing future to consider.